Oh, yeah, we standing. Zombie, zombie, zombie.
I have sound. I have sound. Check it, check it. I have sound. I didn't confirm the sound because I want to play it again.
Happy Independence Day to the people of British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. I urge the world to stand up against injustice being done to the people of Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Fijne onafhankelijkheidsdag aan de mensen in British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. Ik vraag de wereld op te staan tegen het onrecht aan de mensen in Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Happy Independence Day to the people of British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. I urge the world to stand up against injustice being done to the people of Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Happy Independence Day to the people of British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. I urge the world to stand up against injustice being done to the people of Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Fijne onafhankelijkheidsdag aan de mensen in British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. Ik vraag de wereld op te staan tegen het onrecht aan de mensen in Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Happy Independence Day to the people of British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. I urge the world to stand up against injustice being done to the people of Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Happy Independence Day to the people of British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. I urge the world to stand up against injustice being done to the people of Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Fijne onafhankelijkheidsdag aan de mensen in British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia.
Get trained as an IT professional from the comfort of your home. Dynamic Tech Academy gives you a unique opportunity through our 6-month program, during which you learn skills to transition to being a full-time IT professional. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet the vast majority of them land jobs a month after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student placement, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will give you a resume, interview preps, one-on-one coaching from experienced instructors, and job placement assistance. Within this course, you get more than 300 hours of theories combined with real-world applications and practical skills you can apply on day one on your job. At the end of the program, our students can be certified as Red Hat Systems Administrator, AWS Cloud Engineer, AWS Security Specialist. Visit our website at www.dynamictechacademy.com to register. Get trained as an IT professional from the comfort of your home. Dynamic Tech Academy gives you a unique opportunity through our 6 month program, during which you learn skills to transition to being a full-time IT professional. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet the vast majority of them land jobs a month after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student placement, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will give you a resume, interview preps, one-on-one coaching from experienced instructors, and job placement assistance. Within this course, you get more than 300 hours of theories combined with real-world applications and practical skills you can apply on day one on your job. At the end of the program, our students can be certified as Red Hat Systems Administrator, AWS Cloud Engineer, AWS Security Specialist. Visit our website at www.dynamictechacademy.com to register. Good evening. Welcome to this very special edition of Post-Independence Day celebration on Undaunted, where we bring into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. Saturday, October 1st, 2022 has entered once more in the annals of Ambazonian history as commemoration activities went fever high from Donga Matum County in the Savannah to Faco County in the Atlantic zones. Audios and videos flooded the social media worldwide, showing how resolute, how resolved, how determined, and how the eager desire to get to Boya burns in the hearts and minds of Ambazonians. This was seen from the fact that even though the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, in a message to the nation on the eve of commemorations, lamented that celebrations will not take place in pomp and pageantry because the blood of the over 50,000 innocent denizens slain by the enemy, La République du Cameroon, was still fresh. Tears still flowing, graves still wet, and many still in jails, others in refugee camps living under deplorable conditions. The Ambazonian Restoration Forces, ARFs, all over home front in solidarity still showcased their prowess, sending a message to the genocidal La République du Cameroon that all is not ended. They will fight to the last man standing, and that they were ready to liberate homeland, come rain, come shine. Ambazonian flags were hoisted all over and ARFs and restoration forces came out in the numbers, sang the Ambazonian anthem, shot guns and did their march past, and there are videos attached. Undaunted gathered that the celebrations went hitch-free from the Atlantic to the Savannah, for no casualties were recorded.
These are the prime headlines for today. Today is indeed a special broadcast. It is a post in the would be a bit different but unique. So, firstly, we will analyze the President's Independence broadcast speech, highlighted the major punch lines. We will give it to you bit by bit. We will also throw in more light on the black caucus that the President mentioned during the pre-independence speech. We will also look into what the Department of Health and Social Services did in Biajois. The HSS is headed by Dr. Titer, and we have him in the studio this evening. We will also be having the Speaker of the Interim Government, the Speaker of the Interim House of Representatives, Dr. Winnie Lubati. We will also be having Ma Irene Ngwa this night. Now, right after that, we'll look deeply into the activities of the independents in the home front and in diaspora. We'll also be observing how different counties represented themselves during their Independence Day celebration and how they flew the blue and white flags extremely high.
Get trained as an IT professional from the comfort of your home. Dynamic Tech Academy gives you a unique opportunity through our 6 months program, during which you learn skills to transition to being a full-time IT professional. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet the vast majority of them land jobs after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student placement, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will give you a resume, interview preps, one-on-one coaching from experienced instructors, and job placement assistance. Within this course, you get more than 300 hours of theories combined with real world applications and practical skills you can apply on day one on your job. At the end of the program, our students can be certified as Red Hat Systems Administrator, AWS Cloud Engineer, AWS Security Specialist. Visit our website at www.dynamictechacademy.com to register.
The Ambazonia October 1st Independence Day was a recorded success. Regardless of the trials and tribulation, Ambazonians worldwide braved the odds to show resilience and determination. The first October 20 celebration was filled with patriotism and full-blown activities, showcasing the Ambazonian in commemoration 1961 independence stolen from the people of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia with the help of the UN, facilitated by the Britain and France as they ignored the UN General Assembly of 1608. Now we saw public demonstrations, march passes, and the real Ambazonia Restoration Forces military drill and open display from Libelem to Fako Mehmet to Coupe Indian to Donga, Mezam to Momo, Ngokentuja to Boyi, Boyo, Menchub, and many others. Now, we celebrate everyone for their courage and sacrifices in ensuring we recorded these great feats. Now, let's see some of the military videos from the ARFs.
Attention! Wake us up! Attention! Weapon down. I need. Attention! Weapon up. I need. Attention! Consistent. I need. Attention! Weapon down. I need. Attention! Weapon up. I need. Attention! Consistent. I need. Attention! Weapon down. I need. Attention! Weapon up. I need. Attention! Consistent. I need. Attention! Ready for action. Ready to shoot. Release. Maintain position. I need. Attention! Consistent. I need. Attention! Ready for action. Ready to shoot. Release. Maintain position. I need. Attention! Consistent. I need. Attention! Ready for action. Ready to shoot. Release. Maintain position. I need. Attention! Consistent. I need. Attention! Ready for action. Ready to shoot. Release. Maintain position. I need. Attention! Consistent. I need. Attention! Weapon to that right hand. On your chest. Release. I need. Attention! Reversal. I need. Attention! Weapon down. I need. Attention! I need. Attention! I need. Attention! 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 Respect! Shut up! Release!
Now, celebrations marking Independence Day 2022 for Ambazonians were observed in full gear all over Ambazonia. From Kumbo under the watchful gaze of General Tolkien due to the Bui County Armed Restoration Forces, down to Baliyonga, also the women of Akwaya were featured. The beautiful, happy people of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia were seen rejoicing. No one was left out of the celebration. Not the mothers, not the fathers, the youths had an amazing time celebrating. We have some excerpts on that.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, King of glory, the Rock of ages, we come before your throne of grace this afternoon, O King of glory, for what that you have given us. Because your word tells us, O Father, that all have sinned and come short of your glory. We accept that fact that we have sinned and come short of your glory. But we pray, O Father, that you should have mercy upon us. We pray, O King of glory, that you take total control over this day, O Father, because we are not fighting it for anything, but we are fighting it to glorify your name. For we have the fear of God. And your word tells us, O Father, that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. O Heavenly Father, we welcome you into this place because we know that on our own we will not be able to do it. But we know, O Father, that we are here because of your grace upon us. We know we have fallen, but you are the only person that can make us to become more stronger. But we pray, oh Father, that let the light of today, that is shining upon us is not our desire, but it is your desire. We pray, oh Father, that let it shine upon this struggle in the name of Jesus. Oh Father, we pray that whatever the public is planning against us, oh Father, that let it be taken away from us in the name of Jesus. Amen. We commit everybody in this land, oh Father, that you should cover the people and clothe them with the glory of God, so that the enemies will not be able to see them in the name of Jesus. Amen. Oh Father, we worship your name, we praise your name. For your word tells us, oh Father, that wherever you are, there must be change of environment. And we pray, oh Father, that change of environment be here today in the
All right, and we say amen to that as well. Another major highlight of the day was the gifts of numerous food items to the refugees in Nigeria. From report gathered, President Samuel Ikamesako, Dr. Tita African, and Terpati King were the frontliners in achieving this particular feat for our refugees. Now, let's see some pictures and videos coming up from this.
All right, reports reaching Undaunted also shows that the Department of HSS and Rachel also ensured that these refugees were fed and fed properly. Another major highlight of the day is that Ambazonia in diaspora also had an amazing day, and images of Ambazonians in Australia, Germany, the UK, and many other countries had series of events celebrating Ambazonian Independence Day.
All right, and right after this break, we would come back with what we have titled the 10 episodes of the President's speech. I'm sure you do not want to miss this.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.
All right, we have our correspondent in the studio, Aisha Stam, with us here in Undaunted Newsroom, and she's supposed to do this particular news report with us as well. She's supposed to report on this beat as well. Aisha Stam, good evening, ma'am. Are you there?
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.
Yes. You can hear me now?
Yes, Aisha, I can hear you. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yes, first I want to say a hearty and uh, just joyful, happy Independence Day to Ambazonia. I am so proud of you and for you. I am also excited about today that we get to segment men everywhere, both here and America and all over the world can really grasp the significance of the truths that are told here. So I'm very excited to be here today.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC.
Yeah, good evening, Asia. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Ambazonians. You're watching us from the home front. We apologize for this late start. We were supposed to get a confirmation. You just saw the president announced something on his platform earlier on, and we were supposed to get some confirmation on what information we need to give out. And connecting the two studios is a challenge. Right now, before we get into that discussion with the Black Caucus and the details of what was done at the refugee settlements in Nigeria with Dr. Tita, we have Dr. Winnie Lobati connected on the platform. I'll be asking the undaunted ladies to introduce Madam Asia Storm again so that she can handle what she's supposed to handle, and you people follow the chronology simultaneously. Thank you very much. That should be done now.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ta. And I know that Ma Asia Storm is ready right now. We must to discuss is important, especially to those of our brothers and sisters in the home front or in diaspora that was not able or were not able to meet up with the president's speech of the 1st of October. All right, Ma Asia Storm, are you there now? Can you hear me loud and clear? If you can, please go ahead with what you have for us today.
Rest right now, but as I was saying, I just really wanted to congratulate Ambazonia on your Independence Day. It was amazing to watch all the festivities. I am so happy and proud for everyone and of everyone. And I'm excited to get started segmenting the speech so that from my perspective, I can help those in America and elsewhere to grasp what they can do. And so, to bring clarity. So I'm excited to be here. What else would you like for me to address right now?
All right, Maisha Stone, we would want you to address from the president's speech how the war was brutal and how the enemy has fallen. From the president's speech, would want you to do a brief, probably a sentence or two, or in a minute, talk about how the war has been brutal and how the enemy has fallen.
First of all, I want to say the president starts his speech with the most important of all the facts, and that is that innocent civilians are being massacred. He is letting us, the people, know that it is time to end taking no for an answer when it comes to getting the truth of this so called war to leaders everywhere, particularly in my homeland, America. He gave vital statistics in the first few moments of his speech, with the stats on the 50,000 lives that have been lost in this illegal war. He shows in these few minutes the illegal acts of war that are going on right now with just enough precision so as to see in the rules of war of the United Nations itself that prohibits attacks on civilian property, that show that people and property that do not contribute to the war effort should be protected against unnecessary destruction and hardship and more. The president brilliantly, I thought, brought undeniable truths that prove that Ambazonia is ruthlessly and murderously being attacked under the guise of war. The president shows that on November 30th, President Paul Biya illegally declared war on innocent people and the president helped Ambazonia to see that this brutality is coming to an end. I was very proud of the way that he not only brought these hard truths, but he brought the victory of the fight, and he brought healing bandages, healing medicine to souls who are tired. We get exhausted when we are brutalized, when we are um, catastrophically victimized. I know that for a fact. And so to have someone to tell me that I'm doing well is critical to my uprising again. And so I was very proud of the way the president, I thought, brilliantly and filled with love and a heart for the people, brought this message. Very, very, very great first few minutes of the speech. Thank you.
Fellow Ambazonians, on this day, 5 years ago, we all rose as one nation to assert the independence of our beloved country, Ambazonia. This solemn act of restoration was our collective resolve to finally terminate 6 decades of annexation, colonization, and subjugation by our eastern neighbor, La République du Cameroon, which had held us in a chokehold all this while. Some enlightened leaders had attempted to do this in the past for the people. Individuals like Fon Gojidinka and Justice Alobwede, but without groundswell support. This time, the people decided to do it for the leaders. That's why this is the people's fight. Several attempts by our forebears to release us as a people from this stranglehold were either ignored, ridiculed, or violently suppressed. Many of them were assassinated and some died in dungeons, serving life sentences handed down to them by La République du Cameroon colonial kangaroo courts, if they were lucky at all. to have their day in court. As I address you today, more than 50,000 of our compatriots, mostly civilians going about their daily lives, have been massacred by French Cameroon. Going by these figures, on average, at least 27 of our citizens are massacred every single day these past 5 years, meaning more than one Ambazonian is killed every hour from the day we restored our independence. Putting this in perspective, before I finish addressing you tonight, at least one Ambazonian civilian must have been summarily murdered by French Cameroon soldiers just for being Ambazonian. This genocidal war declared on us by the 90-year-old dictator Paul Biya on the 30th of November 2017 is raging, and our people are going through this horror in pain and in plain sight while the world watches on. This is our reality daily. Unlike any other day, today's occasion pays tribute to the resilience of a people who give meaning to the resolutions of the United Nations General Assembly by not only restoring but defending our right to self-determination. Like Nigeria, our neighbors to the west, we were supposed to be celebrating our twin Independence Day with pomp, but no, not when our streets are still wet with the innocent blood of our heroes and the tears of our helpless people. Not when our killers, bound by a barbaric oath, have made many of our kindreds homeless and stateless. Not when 50,000+ of our people are crying out for vengeance in mass graves. Not when our intelligent ones are languishing behind bars in the darkest of inhumane cells. The most important thing we, the survivors, must celebrate today is our courage to challenge our fears and correct this error and ensure truth and justice prevails. Today, I have come to reveal to our distinguished family of Ambazonia that the old order of French Cameroon's tyranny is over. It is on a state of collapse, giving way to a new order that speaks of the inevitability of our emergence as the 55th nation of Africa. Yesterday, we were considered by La République as Anglophiles, no more. Today, we are not only respected, we are feared. Yesterday, we were considered less than intelligent, no more. Today, they want to all speak some form of English to fake their relationship and love for us. Yesterday, they all made careers out of bad-mouthing Ambazonia, no more. Today, the Atanganjis, the Tassons, Musonge, Ngolengole Frundi, and the CPDM cabal have lost every chance they thought they had of winning La République's Traitor of the Era award, because they no longer call the shots in Ambazonia. The old order has fallen as life in La République is dictated by what we do in Ambazonia.
All right, that aside, the president also confronted Paul Biya directly. You know, he spoke to him some words that I'm sure that was referring to Biya directly. Now, let's get these words from the president.
Let me address Dictator Paul Biya of La République du Cameroon and the sponsors of this genocide in Ambazonia. Your arrogance in rejecting any form of international mediation is exacerbating the little resistance that our forces had as we defend ourselves within the boundaries of our territory. Take this seriously. Trying to gather or consult some so-called Anglophones anywhere in the diaspora for some informal talks or consultation does not sound like a strategy to end this war. La République du Cameroon has never dialogued with us. In 1960, 1961, in Fumban, La République aborted the first genuine dialogue and opted for unilateralism. And in 1966, they dissolved our institutions without dialogue. In 1972, they changed the form of state between a supposed two states of equal status without dialogue. In 1984, they changed the name of the country, reverting to their former name, the name they used, and they seceded from the experimental union without dialogue. In 1993 and 94, they refused to dialogue with us. In 1996, they refused to organize a sovereign national conference we demanded for genuine dialogue. In 2017, they refused to dialogue with our consortium of civil society organizations. And in 2022, they rejected the Swiss mediation process for genuine dialogue. They are, however, lying to the international community that they have won the war. The peace has returned in Ambazonia, and the reconstruction is already going on. Please, don't blame a serial liar. Blame those who continue to believe him. La République du Cameroon is free to do her endless circles of informal consultations with so-called Ambazonia leaders in the diaspora as they chose. When they will be ready to meet Ambazonia, the IG will meet with them. It shall be government delegation versus government delegation. No more, no less. If the colonial government of La République du Cameroon is not part of any delegation, the government of Ambazonia shall not also be part of any so-called delegation to meet whoever comes in the name of La République du Cameroon. If after 3 years of toying with and outrightly trashing the Swiss mediation, La République is only interested in orchestrating third-party informal consultations with no direct government involvement, it means they have outrightly rejected the path of peace. While they contemplate using their so-called special forces to kill more of our innocent population, we cannot afford to take our eyes off the war for a minute. We will match La République du Cameroon strategy for strategy. We must match them in height and in breadth, in firepower. Ambazonia will have to deal decisively with all trespassers and facilitators of this genocide on our people. To do so effectively, we will take out every legitimate target anywhere and anytime. The enemy's manipulative narrative to water down the genocidal war and market it as an internal crisis instead of an international armed conflict is in complicity with the ICRC. It is their unconvincing denial that we are two states of equal status and a strategy to push back the do-nothing international community from even contemplating a direct foreign intervention. It is morally dishonest for the International Red Cross to describe what is happening in Ukraine as international conflict. What is happening in Central African Republic and Congo as armed conflicts, but classify the war in Ambazonia as a mere internal conflict, internal crisis. Such assisted delay tactics by a reputed organization like the International Committee of Red Cross will only escalate the cost of this war and shatter La République's economy, which is now on life support. The ICRC should be professional and reclassify the war in Ambazonia as an international armed conflict. That's the right thing to do.
You heard the president say that it is an international armed conflict and not a national crisis like La République du Cameroon has been trying to display to the world. And you also heard him say that La République du Cameroon has never been interested in a proper dialogue. And that is why they have opted for the Swiss negotiation process, which they actually turned down, which has been tagged as a blunder. Well, then the next thing the president talked about is the liar and the traitor. He pointed out who the liar and the traitor is, and that's the clip you watched just about now.
French Cameroon got corrupt committee to fragment our dreaded people's IG. He went on to enthrone 3 presidents in 6 months to head his association of spoilers. Little known to the self-styled kingmaker, this fight is the people's fight. It is not a committee, family meeting, or association. Every organization is only relevant to the extent that it is representative of what its people want. Otherwise, it is dead on arrival. La République du Cameroon agents then proceeded to threaten our official spokesman on of our brave ARFs on the home front, just to project the La République mouses as spokesmen with no legitimacy. Now, they are parading a pseudo ground zero government masterminded by certain prisoners in Kondengi and fake profiles pretending to speak for the home front. The enemy is employing all forms of maneuvers to delegitimize or bypass the Ambazonian people's leadership so that they can choose for us compromised agents and hired spoilers to represent us on the table. They are trying this after they tried and failed to use leaders in prison to circumvent the IG and alter the power structure of our struggle to negotiate with those they choose. La République du Cameroon dialogues with genuine leaders, not when they are free, but when their lives are in captivity, meaning they want to dialogue with Ambazonia on equal terms.
All right. And still analyzing the speech, we have Los Angeles correspondent Isha Sturm to talk about the hunting dog. What does the president mean, and who was he referring to as the hunting dog? Isha Sturm would analyze that first.
Well, thank you. The hunted dog, to me, I'm so glad he put it that way, because it's showing that the people who were fighters for Ambazonia have believed the liar, have believed the deceiver, and are now being used by this evil force, as I see it. And this is a rabbit type of being, a person who would have inside information because they were once part of the whole, and who are now, because they were imprisoned by the oppressor, are now being used. And so I see the dog, the hunter dog, as being that force, and the evil inside that is just unconscionable, because it's taking, in my opinion, what could be decent people who were really victims, and programming them to be what they're not. And so that's where I see the president breaking it down to show the dangers of all of that, when that's coming at you from beneath, looking like you, walking like you, talking like you, and yet bringing the enemy to you. It reminds me of Judas and the Bible, when he came up to Jesus with a smile and a kiss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Asia, for joining the crew to ensure that we do this broadcast. I want to apologize once again, Ambazonians, for the fact that we have connected a little bit late we'll be back with Asia Storm and the two anchor ladies to continue the 10 episodes of the president's speech. Right now in the studio, we have the Secretary of State for the National Treasury, Ma Iringwa. We have the Speaker of the House of the Interim House of Representatives, Dr. Winnie Lobati. We have the Secretary of State for the Department of Health and Social Services of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Tita. These individuals have come in 3 dimensions to give to us an appraisal of October 1st, 2022 celebrations, associated activities that took place. And that is the crux of the matter of our discussion today. And we're getting right into it. Ambazonians have been requesting and asking that really very seriously. The first thing is we saw a government that was in full function, a government that was not just out to do some political campaign. I know some of you saw what happened in Calabar. I'll be asking Dr. Emmanuel Tita very direct questions in that delight. But again, we saw a government that worked in diplomacy. There are lots of diplomatic achievements. The president has sent out images and snippets of his activity with the Black Caucus, which means that establishing some form of relationship. And that's what Ambazonians are looking forward to know. Perhaps Dr. Tita and Ma Irene that were there can give to us an idea, because we were not in that room. They were there to listen to what happened. We, the people, want to have ideas. Now the Speaker of the House watched what was happening to her people, listened to the president's speech. From her perspective and vintage point, she will be giving to us an idea of what we should expect to see in the nearby future. What is it that Ambazonians would like to see as we move on the days ahead in terms of implementation? What is the House going to take from the president's speech, and what would they be doing? That is where I hope to start. Unfortunately, I do have the Speaker of the House seated here, which I would like to just introduce her really very quickly so that we can get on very quick with this. Good evening and welcome, Dr. Winnie Lobati. Thank you for being patient. You've been waiting for a while. And finally, we're connected. Right after that, I'll go to Ma Aringwa. So you just want to talk to us. It was October 1st like never before. And like the president said, it can only get better. We keep getting better. There was a wide range of celebration from Australia to Europe to the Americas, and even in Ambazonia. We saw Ambazonians were united in one thing, the color. We're united in the fact that they want to be free and they want complete independence and nothing less. Talk to us, please.
Fellow Ambazonians, thank you for watching. Thank you, Patty, for having me here today. And I think I'm privileged and honored to be here to speak and as the Speaker of the House, but also to encourage Ambazonians. Let me say one thing clearly. Against all odds, October 1st, 2022 was a success, contrary to what La République had imagined, contrary what those who have been romancing La République in the bed and the Coopers, contrary to what they had imagined, even trying to sabotage the celebration. But Ambazonians, thank you. You took your day of independence and you celebrated. It's not based on whether it's the Speaker or President Sako or La République. It is your identity and it is your history and it is your celebration. And you took it by the horns and you ran with it and you did a marvelous job in the celebration. Thank you very much. I just want to congratulate Home Front, especially for the refugees. Thank you also that even though you are in a strange place, a strange land, you took it upon yourself to celebrate, in spite of all the facts that we saw so many other imposters trying to ruin it, but God gave you the victory and some images came out of what was being done. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all our ARFs, civilians who really made the day colorful for all of us. For those in diaspora who also joined, thank you, because you kept the international community on their heels. You reminded them also, besides what the president had spoken, you also reminded them that this is not a day to be forgotten. The war declared on Ambazonia has not stopped, and we cannot fully embrace our celebration as we would want to by going out to remind the international community that they need to grow up, face facts, and do what is right by the books and by the UN Resolution 1608. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Winnie Lobati. Without any waste of the time, Ambazonians are waiting to hear. There are lots of things Ambazonians would like to hear this evening. And before I even wait to let them start hearing those things, I'll be introducing to you the woman you already know, the Secretary of State for the National Treasury, Dr. Ma Aringwa. And she was an eyewitness before she even gets into the room to tell us what happened, what information can be given public. I'd like her to give to us, maybe to present herself again. A lot of you know her, but maybe to give to us her appraisal of October 1st celebrations, that she was a part of the organization. You're welcome.
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you so much, our patient people that have been waiting to watch. Make I try to talk for Pidgin, for home front say when a cafe day up. Me I try to tell our refugees in the refugee camps say when a cafe day up. We see when as they celebrate when Independence Day. Thank you to Dr. Tita and his HSS team for a very wonderful job. You know, say devil, they always try for comfort to still join now, but God not let them still join. And thank you all for refusing to take poison. Because when I remember, always remember, say no be everything when they come your way in a good thing. So you all, I'm so proud that you were very much on alert for make sure say when I watch wait the way when I take them or wait when I the chop. And we continue to educate when I for home front to be very, very careful. When I go see, you know, say Jesus, the day for Bible say some people say when I go see all kind man say they be men of God. So one in a day for them. So now the same thing there for the Ambazonia deal with independence fight now. A lot of people will come to say they be president, they be this, but when I know who una government they, when I know who they buy when I granite, when I know who they give when I chop, when I know where they call government. And the most beautiful thing I say, we don't even get number. At the course of the time, I will talk a little bit about some of the new developments that don't happen when I don't know. But Paddy, thank you so much again for having me here, turning again to the diaspora. So honored to be here. Thank you once more for having me this afternoon. Paddy, I'm exhausted. It's been a week of non-stop running the hills of Washington, D.C. with Dr. Tita. A lot that we would really love to not say it here, but Ambazonians, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I want you all to know that if you are a true Ambazonian fighting for your freedom, if people call themselves Ambazonian, they will not try to spoil the work that we've been doing. They will try to embrace it and congratulate the person that has done it. When somebody thinks that
Now,
I must quit,
permit me to cut you, and it is intentional. For those watching, forgive me for cutting her. I just was looking on the platforms and I saw something which I want you to watch. And right after that, we will continue this discussion. Just watch.
Black Lives Matter. It's been less than 1 year in Ukraine, but we see CNN in Ukraine. It's been 5 years in Ambazonia. We see no CNN. It's been 45,000 villages burned to the floor. We see no CNN. It's been 130 refugees scattered all over. 130,000. 130,000. We see no CNN. Why will we let the Chinese come to take what belongs to you?
We won't.
It is time we come together and say no.
No, hell no.
black people, we have a right to a continent that belongs to us. Africa is the richest continent on earth. That is what you came from. It belongs to you and your ancestors. It belongs to all of us. It's not Dr. Sako's fight alone. When I saw my sister spoke, it touched my heart. Because as black women, we're powerful.
Yes, that's right.
We don't only nurse babies, we work.
Yes.
We cook and we clean.
Yes.
And we say no to oppression.
Yes.
Your own nephews that you might not know are being murdered everywhere. Your own nieces that you might not know, your Ambazonians, are being killed every day. But no one speaks about it because they're black people. We cannot live in oppression all our lives. In America and in Africa, where you belong. How can France own minerals when they don't have mineral resources? How can Queen Elizabeth die with gold when there were no diamond mines? I want to make sure you know, one of the statues that we fought had to be returned belonged to the people of Ambazonia. It was stolen from the Afro-Con people.
That's right.
Your land, your people. Dr. Sako is not here for anything else but to say, let's come together and fight.
That's right. All right.
We have fought for generations. I came to this country when I was 20 years old, lived in Alabama, saw Ku Klux Klan. But as a black girl, I learned not to surrender.
Now you've listened to yourself. How do you feel about that? But first of all, I want to give caution to everyone that's here. Dr. Tita, yourself, you were in the room, and the president is asking us now. He just called to tell me that we have to restrain and contain the good news or some other information for later. But then I'd like to ask two things in relation to the videos we just watched. Number one, how do you feel? Number two, what is your inspiration? Because it so happens that every time you're given the chance to speak, you always speak rigorously with a lot of vigor.
You know, I was so shocked to see this video. I did not know that Dr. Titi was doing some criminal work in the background. I think that,
Well, I picked it somewhere Dr. Tita didn't give me, so forgive him before
oh
you
my
accuse
goodness.
him.
To be honest with you, it was so spontaneous, right? I wasn't programmed to speak, but I had spoken earlier. So I was just going to stand to sit up there and take a picture. And one of the ladies said, "We need to hear from you." I said, "Okay." And I asked the president, "Is it okay to say something?" He said, "Go right on." So thank you, Mr. President, for letting me just chime in there and be who I am and speak from the bottom of my heart. I don't like to be scripted. I speak from the bottom of my heart. So it wasn't something I had a script. I was not programmed to speak. So it was just spontaneous, and it was just powerful to see those Congress women. One of them actually had a gold bracelet on her hand. She removed it and she gave it to me. She said, "I want you to keep this. And when you wear this, remember that we are together. Remember that we're together. And thank you for
So
telling us this truth."
after you
Yeah.
spoke, you inspired one of the Congress women to give to you a gift, and I know what that signifies. Now
To
she
me,
connected her spirit with
yeah.
yours with a gold ring, a
Yeah,
bangle.
she said to me that we had a busy week. Believe it or not, we had a really, really busy week in DC. It was just not one meeting. It was just not one. I'm exhausted, buddy. You can tell from my face. I am tired. It was a week of non-stop. I think we functioned about
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours of sleep. Believe it or not, we even had a security breach at some point. We had to relocate our hotel in the middle of being exhausted and trying to go get to sleep. And we saw Copas. We had a security breach. But to me, it was a week of fighting for what we believe in. And I'm urging each and every one of us, whenever you have an opportunity, it's not about you, it's not about self
Right.
promotion, it's about Ambazonia. We are a
Right.
team. Wherever you get tapped to speak, don't speak to you, don't speak to elevate yourself. We are fighting for those that are dying at home. So when you have that passion in you anytime, when you're asked to speak, like the president gave me that opportunity to speak, I don't even know whether he knew I was going to do a good job, but I just said, can I speak? Thank God he trusted me. Yes, go. And it was just fire. So I think it was cut off, but I thought I lighted so much fire in that room because even a few of the people that were not our color came to me and say, "Wow, thank you for speaking, thank you for the passion, and we will be there for you all. We will. We It's a story that no one told, but we are bound
Yeah.
to make sure that your story is told. So, but a lot we
My
cannot discuss. Yes, sir.
get some coffee. I'll get back to you. Let me bring Dr. Tita. I want to just give
Yes.
a gift to every person that is here so that they get to feel the energy. Immediately I'm done with Dr. Tita, I'll get back to the girls and Madam Aisha. They have something brief to conclude. And I'll come back to us so that we can spend more time to enhance this discussion. So just stick right there and I'll be back with you. Dr. Tita, I think it's a time for you and I to start the discussion. You have sent out a video, you have sent out a report, you sent out an apology yesterday. Some Amazonians have read it. You're going to reiterate it on air. And a lot of things. We're aware of the man who went to Calabar. But talking to you last night, you told me it was just a political campaign. It was not a humanitarian trip because in Calabar, there are no refugees per se. The refugees are more in Ogoja,
Cross River.
where you did the outreach in Ikom and some of those other places. But we have a man going to Calabar, a beautiful place to Galavant, and that's a concern. Perhaps you have more to say about everything, but perhaps you should start from there and tell us what you feel and the hope you have. What happened and what really happened that we're seeing the results. We saw bags of rice, indomies, uh, food and drink, people dancing, the celebration. I'm also made to understand that it cost your department or the government 10,000 US dollars to organize that particular celebration in one settlement alone, one village, Biajwa alone. That's amazing. What's the secret? How did you go about it? And what we just want to hear a lot. So much, and I've compressed in one so you can talk.
Greetings, Comrade Paddy. Can you hear me?
Very loud and clear, please.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Greetings, fellow viewers of ABC. Greetings, Madam Speaker. Greetings, my own mom, Irene, the Secretary of State for the National Treasury. Greetings, the ABC team. I'm extremely honored and delighted to be here today. Like Irene stated, the past week was a very busy week for this interim government. With all the activities that we had, diplomatic activities that we had from Washington, and then final closing the week with the October 1st celebrations in Washington, D.C., in Maryland, and also the celebrations that took place in the Biajwa community in Buki, LGA in Cross River State. That celebration was organized by the Department of Health and Social Services of your interim government. Thanks to the great team members that we have, thanks to every Southern Cameroonian that donated towards that initiative, thanks to Irene, the Secretary of State for the National Treasury, that step up to make sure that we had enough funds. Because even when we did the fund drive, we were still not able to raise the amount, the estimate of $10,000 that we needed, and the National Treasury through Irene had to step up to bring us some, to help loan us some money. Bring us some money and loan us some money. I'm going to say that again, yes, because they're two separate situations that happen. So we're extremely excited. After receiving the money, thanks to the great team that we have on the ground, the project was executed 100%. And we saw the images. We saw the images that came out with our Southern Cameroonians on the ground marching with their T-shirts and their food distributions. You saw the excitement in the room. That excitement is coming from the energy that has been generated from here in Washington, D.C. With the president. That excitement, and the president said it. The president said it in his presentation that there is hope. That excitement came from all the diplomatic efforts that we had gone through in Washington D.C., and that's what our people they were actually feeling on the ground. So
Yeah, we
while we were
saw
getting that,
we actually saw patriotism on full scale.
Yes, we did that. So while we were getting all of that, showing the hard work of this interim government and the members of this government and every Southern Cameroonians in the diaspora that support this interim government, we saw some images of the supposed chief coup plotter, Mr. Chris Ano, and his gang there in Calabar, supposedly showing up in what is some picture stuff showing some. I don't know if he thinks that the Southern Cameroonians plight is a political campaign at the level of the refugee camps, but I'm here to tell him that it's not. This struggle is not a political campaign at the
Yeah,
refugee
Dr.
camps.
Peter, that is going to take
Yes,
us a little bit long. We'll get back to that discussion.
yes,
We're gonna examine very closely, Dr. Tita, if you can hear me. We'll
yes,
examine very closely the intricacies of that visit. There was no
yes.
flag. We hear the food. There wasn't even any food. So, what is the objective of spending thousands of dollars to go to a place and meet hungry people, angry people, oppressed people, suffering people, and you're not giving? We'll get into that. But before then, let's get back into the 10 episodes of the president's speech. I believe we are midway gone. After that, I'll come back with you, Dr. Winnie Lobati, Ma, Irene. Ambazonians want to listen to you. They're excited everywhere. They want to listen to you and yourself. And we will handle all of this discussion in a more sane manner. Thank you and stay tuned.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Tara. Thank you so much, Dr. Tita, as well. All right, so we'll continue with the president's speech. Now, he talked about the comrades in the battlefield and how we all are very proud of them and how we are saluting them. Now, if Nijo was around, he would definitely do that in a very special way. But since it's not here, we know that they are already drafting with their lives, with their blood, with their strength, and with everything that they have. Just because we are all passionate about this freedom. Now, let's listen to the president.
Brave Ambazonian Restoration Forces, my dear comrades in battle, today is the day that we fly our flags high with pride and show respect to our beautiful country, honor and our heroes, and assert dominance in our territory, and reassure our people of our patriotic resolve and capabilities to continue to defend them and liberate our homeland. I salute you all, brave ones. During this solemn national event, the commemoration of our independence, thank you for your service. I call on all of you to join hands as one ARF united force in Ambazonia to defend our homeland. You are children of destiny. You were born to do what you are doing now. Liberate your people. Don't allow manipulators to tell you your fight is against this or that. Those who are advising you to unite and rebel against the IG authority are not fighting for a free Ambazonia. They are either hungry or deceptive. A group of dogs were hunting an antelope, and suddenly some of the dogs raised a motion saying they should pause and change their leadership first. What do you think will happen to the antelope they were hunting? If you are fighting for an independent Ambazonia, then you need us. But if you are fighting for your private gain, then you don't certainly need the IG. A good soldier will never turn his arm against anyone who is helping him to conquer his enemy. Kidnappers and those abducting priests should be ashamed of themselves. That is un-Ambazonian. The good book says there is a time for everything. There is the time to be laser focused and confront the barbaric genocidaires as a people yearning for speedy victory. This is the time to point our guns at the enemy only and not on ourselves. This is the time to escalate the defense of homeland with rock-solid determination. This is the time to speak to the international community as one man, one nation, one leader, one army, and one chain of command. This is the time to participate actively by drafting all of us in our local government areas and counties to facilitate the battle task of our brave Ambazonia Restoration Forces. My dear compatriots, all of you in the home front, fellow Ambazonians, you are the pivot around which this liberation movement spins. From the time of the consortium till now, you have shown remarkable patience and resilience in the face of a provoking enemy and hardship. Your adherence to our people-inspired Monday Ghost Towns and Country Sunday voluntarily has baffled the enemy. This is your own patriotic symbol of peaceful resistance that reminds the enemy and the world constantly that Ambazonia is not a diaspora invention. You don't observe our lockdowns by fear. You do so by conviction and purpose. That's why we know we are in this together. I want to advise all those renegade forces who are trying to be calling lockdowns for no just reason and killing people at random to enforce compliance. This is confusing and ill-advised. I call on the population to withdraw their respect for such individuals or groups.
The ever-wise words of the president just keeps resounding. Now he moved on to talk about the United Nations saying they would not protect the children to safely go to school. He talked about the education that a lot of Ambazonians have been agitating for, and also which that the La République du Cameroon has used as a camouflage as to why they need a normalcy and why they should go to school. But then he talked about this in a very, very wise sense. As always, he talked about why the UN would not protect the children to safely go to school. Well, let's see the excerpt here.
Concerning the education of our children, which is an area of grave concern to all of us, our stance has not changed for over 3 years now due to the persistent insecurity. We continue to caution parents to put the safety of our kids first and assess critically the security situation in their areas before deciding or not to send them to school. I am pleased to see that you understand our position. All those gambling with this issue are not wise. We did not declare this war, so we cannot end it. Those who declared it should end it tomorrow. Those who can end this war and have not should tell us if their own children can go to school without a minimal expectation of safety and security. Hence, any activity that is dependent on the state of insecurity in Ambazonia is not within our jurisdiction to decide unless there is a peacekeeping force on the ground. In this regard, last year, we proposed a more ideal approach to the United Nations to create buffer zones to allow these children to go to school in a completely serene environment. Unfortunately, our appeal was not heeded by United Nations Organization for OCHA, and so-called NGOs. Worse still, that the public agents, true to their diabolic plans, will continue to kidnap teachers and students in order to package their favorite propaganda that Ambazonians are criminals, as was the case in Bamenda a few weeks ago. Unfortunately for them, that school was guarded by their own colonial forces, and they never reacted when the so-called kidnappers drove in with a car and picked up the administrators and children and drove away uninterrupted. This is the kind of enemy we are dealing with. An enemy that commits heinous crimes against the same people he pretends to be protecting just to sell a false narrative to the international stakeholders. To our beloved millions of refugees scattered around the world in dire conditions, I say to you, there is hope. Hope that one day you will return to a liberated homeland sooner than you may think.
Well, like you're aware, we have Aisha Storm in the studios with us, and she has this last part to say in regards to the president's speech and probably some words for you all in Ambazonia. We'll have her just right now.
Thank you. Yes. Um, well, there are so many parallels to me with Black Americans and Ambazonians. We went through hell over the years. Some of that during my lifetime. My 7-year-old son was brutally murdered, and the whole of the country ignored what happened to my child. So it's a parallel that's very close to my heart, and which brings me the energy and the fire that I have to fight for the rights of Ambazonians and for any victims anywhere of oppression, tyranny, and genocide. Um, so as I look over the president's speech, the war has been, he shows that the war has been brutal, but the enemy has fallen. I see that the president wants Ambazonia to see that the massacres are real, the agony is real. But he wants the people to know that he is proud of the Ambazonian because of your example as you live through terror. When we humans have done everything we can to stand, and then God commands us to stand firm, then it feels good when you hear a brave person tell you that he or she is humbled by your strength and determination. We get stronger just from hearing these words. He shows us through the facts that he gives that it's no longer hidden, this monstrous rule over Ambazonia, and that it's rapidly coming to an end. I believe right here in this speech that the president gave uncountable Ambazonians hope, because hope drains from you when you are under siege, as Ambazonia has been. I am so proud of the message that was sent through this speech, and I pray that it continues to do what it's doing right now. It's traveling. I can feel the sensation, the power that's rising up from Ambazonia. I'm so thankful to be so close up on it so that I can see. And I pray that the parallels of the lynchings in America and the mass graves in Ambazonia, the imprisonment of American Black males, and the intelligent people who are in dungeons in Ambazonia, the being treated less than human, as Black Americans know what I mean. It has not been pretty at all. It's been a horrible road to travel. And being from southern United States, I can tell you it has been a journey to become so incredibly at home in my body. Ambazonia and Black America have so much in common, and I'm so thankful for this speech because I think that Black American can relate. And this is why I want to be a connecting force in any way that I can so that Black Americans all over, and I'm so proud for the Black Caucus getting involved. I believe that Ambazonia is about to travel past your borders, and all that has happened is about to be exposed. The truth is about to rise up, and the people are about to shout to stop, to make all of this stop. Especially, my heart breaks for the children and the women, and of course the men who are innocent, who suffered through all of this. But freedom is right here. And I'm just so proud of Ambazonia. And thank you, Mr. President. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ma Asia Storm. All right, so we have this article that was dropped at the page of the president, and we know that you would definitely learn a thing or two from it. Now, Dr. Samuel Ikomesako, in a State of the Nation address on the eve of the independence of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, has been frank and categorical. Now, that owing to the thousands of Ambazonians killed, 50,000 and counting by the neighboring genocidal La République du Cameroon in a senseless war declared on his peace-loving people by dictator Paul Biya, and that owing to the intrigueness and incalcitrance of the bloody, thirsty, and wavering genocidal regime in Yaoundé, refusing all available means put at its disposal to broker a negotiated settlement to end the war. Now, La République du Cameroon will have no sleep until Ambazonia is free. Ambazonia was not and is not retreating. Ambazonia was rising to fall no more and must become the 55th African nation and the world's UN 194th state, come rain, come shine.
Now, a very particular aspect looked at was the veneration. President Ikome Samuel Sako paid tribute to Ambazonian fallen heroes and heroines who have paid and continue to pay the ultimate price for this legitimate cause. In this regard, he cited Comrade Gorji Dinka and Justice Alobwede and promised a monument of Comrade Albert Mukong as we get to Boya sooner than later. He called for a minute silence in honor of all the fallen, including the over 50,000 slain by colonial La République du Cameroon's genocidal thugs. The blood of the innocent will follow their killers up to the third generation, he said. Now he moved on to talk about diplomacy. Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, he did immense words saying acquiring independence by joining was outright conspiracy in the face of Britain and the UN, and that Ambazonia was the only category by the United Nations now left in Africa, and that after 6 decades of subjugation, annihilation, and every inhumane treatment suffered under a cruel and arrogant La République du Cameroon, that Ambazonians' independence as the number 55th African nation was just a question of time. President Ikome Sako made it abundantly clear that La République du Cameroon has proven beyond every reasonable doubt its dishonesty and bad faith in 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, 1996, 2016, and 2022 by rejecting peaceful means in resolving issues and choosing an unwinnable war option. President Samuel Ikome Sako was optimistic that the intransigence of La République du Cameroon has opened more and new diplomatic doors that will mount pressure on the occupier La République du Cameroon to bow out willy-nilly from Ambazonia. He cited the US Congress, Canada, the European Union, and most recently the Black Caucus Foundation of Michigan and the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists at the Conference of African American Thought Leaders Annual State Action Council reception, which took place at the Willard Intercontinental Hotel in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, September 29, 2022, having working sessions, discussions, and consultations with the aforementioned stakeholders and the political realms in the United States of America, with whom we have made tremendous progress, and it only can get better, he said. There is hope. The president assured Ambazonians, and without being boastful, said the interim government diplomatic team is robust, equal to the task, and is aggressive to break more ground.
All right, he talked about the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. The commander-in-chief doved his heart for the valiant Ambazonia Restoration Forces, the ARFs, describing the elite force as children of destiny born to liberate the people from bondage as one united force. Dr. Sako cautioned them to be vigilant and watch out for manipulation and intoxication and fight only the enemy. That is La République du Cameroon. He says, your loyalty to our leadership since the consortium has frightened our enemy continues to point your gun only at the enemy. Now he intimated Arden that kidnappers and abductors are not fighting the enemy and the population must disassociate themselves from kidnappers and abductors who are there to tarnish the image of genuine fighters, that is the ARFs. He also talked on education. Now, the IG cherishes education but values lives of children. Dr. Sako called on the UN through a peacekeeping force to create buffer zones and make the environment secure and safe for children, teachers, and parents as well. Dr. Sako quoted samples how children have been abducted in schools guarded by La République du Cameroon soldiers with an investigations conducted thereafter, and such acts are recurrent. He also talked about the La République du Cameroon intrigues. The president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikomen-Sako, warned La République du Cameroon using intrigues to water down the conflict, corrupting the international community, including the Red Cross Committee, to believe that the war in Ambazonia is a domestic affair. Sako warns especially the International Red Cross Committee that Black Lives Matter. The Red Cross considered Ukraine and others. It is incumbent on the Red Cross to take its responsibility over the war in Ambazonia that has claimed over 50,000 lives with over 500 villages burned down, and that the UN must equally take up its responsibility by intervening with a peacekeeping force. That is the force La République du Cameroon to a meaningful dialogue and negotiations to end the war rather than allowing a corrupt La République du Cameroon, a belligerent party, the leverage to choose with whom to dialogue or negotiate, since Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon must come to the negotiation table as two equal governments.
Now, he talked about Independence Day, of course, on celebrations to mark Ambazonia independence on October 1st, 2022. The president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia lamented that commemorations will not take place in pomp and pageantry because the blood of the over 50,000 innocent denizens slain by the enemy La République du Cameroon was still fresh, tears still flowing, graves still wet, and many still in jails, others in refugee camps living under deplorable conditions. However, Dr. Ikomen-Sako was optimistic that if we must celebrate one thing, that will be courage and resilience, especially as we are no longer called Anglophiles and Ambazonia now dictates life in La République du Cameroon. He moved on to recognition while thanking countries hosting Ambazonian refugees for their hospitality. Dr. Samuel Ikomen-Sako also urged his fellow compatriots to abide by the laws of their host countries. He regretted that the interim government might not have lived up to expectations through its humanitarian bid So he encouraged fellow compatriots to accept whatever they have received wholeheartedly, as brighter days are no longer far when Ambazonia regains its freedom. Moving on with that, he talked about the promised land. Ambazonia, Dr. Sacco described, will be a land flowing with milk and honey, a nerve center of development, a melting pot, a business hub, a citadel for education and technology. The 55th African nation shall be envied the world over.
All right, and well, you are amazed, I am sure. Now let's have Mr. Tapa, the King, our news director, take over this particular section while we still have Dr. Titel, Dr. Lubati, and Ma Irene in the house. Mr. Tar.
Yeah, thank you very much, Onye. Thank you, Star Smart, for the recap of the president's speech. Actually, what we had planned for the president's speech was more detailed, but you're well aware we started at least an hour late because we had to consult with the office of the president on the information that we are supposed to give public. I think by Wednesday, we will be having an international, hopefully before the week runs out, but Wednesday is the projected date. We will be having an international press conference. I'll be consulting with the Office of the Secretary of State for Communication, the Office of the President, and the Vice President. I spoke with the Vice President. Tomorrow, most probably, we'll be having the Vice President and the Secretary of State for Communication. They might give to us some information. But we hope that during the press conference that starts Wednesday, we may have more detailed information. Right now, I want to come back with Dr. Winnie Lobati. She's been waiting. She's gone, and then we will all be talking. But then I'm coming first of all to Hama. Irene is also here. Dr. Tita is still here. They all have something pertinent to say about 1st October, about the activities of what is happening. Welcome once more, Madam Speaker.
Thank you again, Paddy.
I must say that I love your patience. I love your desire to serve your people. You've been here. You were the first to connect, and thank you for being patient with us. We take it right away. You've listened to the president's speech. We brought in a recap, a very detailed recap, and Ambazonians have been listening to that recap. I'd like to know from you, as a very important member of government. Like I said earlier on, we saw a full function of government. What would the interim House of Representatives be taking back home from this address to the nation? And what should we expect? Where have you failed? It's a very difficult thing for a lot of people to answer, since ASSC2 that Amazonians decided to establish that house. And you, as the first speaker, a female, in that, showing some level of maturity when it comes to democracy in Ambazonia. What have you failed to do before now, and what should we expect in the days ahead? Perhaps you want to give to us timeline.
Paddy, thank you for putting it that way. That's a tricky question, or a tricky accusation of saying, where have you failed? You don't determine failure until the outcomes for what you have put in place does not result in what you are heading, or what you are working towards. And we are still working towards a lot of things in the House. Remember, this House, the legislative arm of the government, is not new. But this House, the reconstituted legislative body that we have now, it's only from how many months old? Probably late March till now, should be about 6 months old. There are lots of things they are working on, lots of training, having new members who have not had their reins on legislative processes. That's also a training. So the training curve is going up. Give them about 18 months, and then you can judge and say what they have failed or what they have not failed. But looking back at what the president is doing as the executive branch of government, they do carry out, they execute processes they execute policies, and they execute prosecuting the war, seeking for diplomacy, as well as making sure that the information out there is current, relevant for not just our people, but also the diplomatic um, community or international community. While I say the executive branch, it is incumbent on every Ambazonian in diaspora to also be engaged. I will tell you some of the things I have done personally, and I think maybe I may hold back some, but contacting, for those of us in the US, we have what we call our legislators, whether they are Congress people or senators. Those are our actually entry ports that we can all, as citizens of the United States, as residents of the United States, as whatever state you are or whatever city, go and seek an audience with your representative. If you do that, you can take the Ambazonia story right at their desk. So when it comes up on the floor, whatever comes up on the floor, they are not ignorant. It is not something that, oh, another thing in Africa, I have no clue. I don't think it matters. I don't need to go in there to vote in a direction. But if they know that you, as their constituent member, you are engaged, you are engaging them, don't be shy, don't be afraid. Go in there. We have, for those people who felt like we were out of status, you have TPS now. TPS even helps you to give you the bonus to take that information and say, I am a temporary protected, I have the temporary protected status, or I have applied for it. I want to come and I live in your constituency. I have been a contributing member in your constituency, and I'm coming to tell you about what is happening. And of course, the executive branch of the government, the Department of Foreign Affairs can help, and even the judiciary can help draft some simple, straightforward information that they can put in the hands of our legislators. That is how you build grassroots awareness.
Yeah, Dr. Winnie, you are frozen, and I wonder why. Perhaps I'll have to follow up to ensure that you get yourself connected. Um, Dr. Tita, please, I want to get back to you. Where's Ma Irene? Ma Irene is not on her seat. Okay, wonderful. She's back. No, Dr. Tita, you have to wait a little bit. A lot of Ambazonians would want to listen to Ma Irene. I'm bringing everybody on the screen right now. Yes, Ma Winnie is disconnected. I'll try to connect her. Yes, Ma Irene, you started your talk, and I cut you a little bit short. Which, okay. Yes, Dr. Winnie, please sign in and sign out again. You are disconnected. I don't know why. Just sign in and sign out. I'm live with Ma Irene now. So just sign in and sign out again. Thank you. If it doesn't work, just let me know. I'll give you another code. Okay, Ma Irene, please.
Yes.
I want to. I'm intentionally trying to shift you away from the discussion that we started, but you give us a little bit of your impression, what you thought about it. The president, I don't know if he's called you. He called me while I was live. He instructed that we make sure to know the kind of information we're giving. Yet, I know there is good news, and I know he intends to do that at the appropriate time. But then, what was the ambience in that environment? We're talking about congressmen, men that can influence decisions. I've gone through their website. I've tried to research on who the Black Caucus is. I know it's not your milieu. The vice president might give us more information tomorrow because he's going to be live to talk on this same issue. But you felt something in that environment, and I'm sure that is one of the things that provoked you to speak the way you did. We've just watched you speaking. What do you think, Ambazonia? Do you think this is a okay? Amazonians,
But
bear
let
with
me
me.
make sure
Trying
you
not
know
to
one
ask
thing about me.
a question that I'll be
I
beating later on.
no.
Do you
Let
think
me just make
it's
sure.
a right move in the right direction?
Let me make sure you know one thing about me. One thing about me, I believe is that I don't like talk. I don't like noise. I don't. We do have a lot of spoilers. We do have people, even in this government to today, that I don't trust. I say this with no holding back. So for that reason, I like to hold tight to a few things in my chest. I do not like to speak about things. Remember this, we had this event for almost 3 weeks. No one knew about this event. No one knew something was happening. It was not by very, very few people. Because we've worked together. When the president tries to bring hope by telling people what he's working on, the people that go and spoil it for us. So all I want to let Ambazonians know is that there is hope for us. And it means all of us need to be very active and stay busy and stay working hard. Believe it or not, I think I've had not up to 8 hours of sleep in the past 4 days. I've not. I'm exhausted, but I have not stopped working. We are very connected. We've connected and made some personal friendships with some of the people that we met. Dr. Tita and can charm a room, and we did our charm. We did our magic work. I'm used to these events. That's what I work for corporate America, and that's what I do technically for a job, networking. Um, our president did a great job. He spoke eloquently. Dr. Tita did a fabulous job. This was one of few people we met. Some of the people that we met behind closed door, we will not speak about them here. We had Dr. Tice here. We had meetings with over 40 people at one point. We're in a room with over 40 people and meeting with them and talking about our issues and connecting with people. I see, Paddy, you're smiling so well, but you're not really going to get a lot
But
out of me.
the point is, I know exactly how the Amazonian public is feeling now. You see, Amazonians have been oppressed for too long. They just want to know that something is happening. But those who
Yes.
are smart enough also are aware that instead of destroying it, we've seen people now. Just so you know, the Swiss mediators, if that's the right way to call it, actually informed the president before they by proxy, by a clandestine means, involve those who took the information out of proportion and disgrace the entire nation of Amazonia. So you must understand why Ma Irene and perhaps Dr. Tita and the president is keeping some information from the public. I hope Amazonians are enjoying that. Dr. Tita, I want to come back with you. You now have two powerful women to support you on this. I'm back with you on this now.
But let me say something here, please, Paddy,
Yes,
if you
go
don't
ahead.
mind. I want to congratulate Dr. Tita for the great job. I also would not like to take credit for teamwork. You know, things work when we work as a team. Dr. Tita was moving with his team. In as much as he has some challenges, he handled them as a leader. And that's what leadership is all about. Taking criticism for the things you do wrong, apologizing to the people of Ambazonia and saying, let's find a way forward. Making excuses in leadership when you're wrong is not right. So, Dr. Tita, I really want to say thank you. I'm really proud of you for standing up and say, yes, I see this wrong. I'm fixing this. And I also apologize to the people of Ambazonia. I think if all of us as leaders can learn to be like that, it will be awesome. I really want to shout out to a hero, someone that works so tirelessly, Ma Victorine Yangney. She rocks. Ma Victorine, as we were in the car driving with Dr. Tita, running from one place to the other place and needed money to move fast. I'll call her, say, sis, she was at work. She would run to the car. She would send a requisition. She would fix what is wrong. A whole lot of SOS Frank of Defense. Thank you so much for always being there, for picking up. the president's director at the presidency, controller, thank you so much for all the work. It took a team to really make this work. Maviki moved mountains. SOS Frank moved mountains, because we, believe it or not, I think we really had our first good meal. Chief Oben, thank you so much for at least giving us food. I think we had a really first good meal to sit down, eat. Thursday night at about midnight is when we really ate for the first time, really ate real food. So I'm saying this to our people to let you know that the people that you have here to work are working. We're working so hard. All of us are tired. We're tired of the kids not going to school. We're tired of our people being refugees. We're tired to see that even our people were almost poisoned with poisonous food. Anything that comes from La Republique du Cameroon to our people is poison through their agents. So we're tired to see our people being poisoned. So I just want to say thank you, Paddy. You are smiling, but it's poison to our people's bodies. So I just want to say thank you, Ambazonians, for understanding that. We will not be saying so much here, but we want you to know that we are working as hard as we can work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Irene. The good thing is that I have the Speaker of the House here seated. She's going to be filling in the gap from the government perspective on these issues. But then, Dr. Tita, you've listened a lot from the women. We want to listen to you. You started by showing us that it was a teamwork, not just team within your department. You had interdepartmental teamwork, working with Ambazonia Foundation, working with the National Treasury very closely to ensure that at least 10,000 US dollars was spent in Biajua alone. Now, based on your satisfaction or your appreciation, what happened that you had to apologize? We need to get into that now and tackle it once and for all.
Thank you very much again, Comrade Paddy, my brother, for bringing me back in. My job, like me talking here, is extremely difficult for me when I get to sit down on the same panel with the Speaker of the House and Irene, very educated women and women that are really doing a lot for this revolution. I don't know where to start. Like I ended during the last question that you asked me in regards to the chief, one of the chief coup plotters of our revolution, Christopher Ano, that did a photo op in Calabar on apparently Saturday, October 1st. He did a photo op in the name of going to refugees to see or to visit refugees. Let me say this, that the Southern Cameroon struggle is not a political campaign at the refugee camps or the settlements or the refugee community. That's a fact. So anyone going there and taking pictures, you want to wonder why are they going there? First, Calabar does not have the highest number of refugees. If Mr. Christopher Ano wanted to see refugees, there are so many refugees. The highest number of refugees is in Cross River State. Over 55% of the refugees in Nigeria is in Cross River. Then you have Taraba State that has about 15% of the refugees. Then you have Benue State. Then you have Akwa Ibom State that have plenty of refugees in Nigeria. I mean, the refugees in Calabar are just very, very little. That add up with those in Lagos and those in the capital city, Abuja, to about like 4%. So it's very, very little. So did he go to, Mr. Christopher Ano need to be honest with the Ambazonia people. Did he go to visit the refugees, or he went there to collect a suitcase or to meet up with one of the La Republique agents? And apparently because he knows that he might be pictured or he might be seen there, he wants to do a photo op with some of the refugees around and say, oh, he came down for the refugees. He needs to be honest with the Ambazonian people, you know. So, but if you were to ask me, it's very simple. after working in collaboration with the Republic du Cameroon to destroy the interim government of which he failed, working directly in collaboration with them to destroy the BLM community in the diaspora and the fighters on the ground in the BLM, then why wouldn't he travel there to go and collect a suitcase? Did he go there for the refugees? He need to come and be very honest. If he really cared and wanted to apparently provide or make provisions for these refugees, with three of them, I think from the image that I saw Chris Anu, Dr. Fidelis Atianjon, and the other coup plotter, Mas Tanji. Three of them. Just think about the flight tickets to go down to Nigeria. Could they not, if they really wanted well for the refugees, could they not save that money and send that money on the ground for someone to give the refugees food? Why did they go there? They went there for something else. They didn't go there to go and give food for the refugees. No. Do they have to go there on the ground to give food for the refugees? If that was his intention in the first place. So, but the Southern Cameroonian struggle is not a political campaign, at the refugee settlement or anything of that nature. So he needs to get his act right. Now, but in regards to Comrade Paddy, the statement I had to put out there, thank you very much, Ma Irene, for such kind words. The statement I put out in regards to the former director of HSS that was seen at apparently seen at the Chris Anu's gathering. I had to put that statement because our people are concerned. I think the first time we saw him at one Mariata's event, he came back and said he was sorry, he apologized, and and in line with what the president is saying, forgiveness is just something that we should try to do, knowing the fact that Jude has done a lot of work for this interim government to spread the message of this interim government on the ground. And not only that, he's a very hardworking person. So after he tendered an apology, and he didn't only say that to me. I mean, if you ask Pastor Commando, who is his uncle, he will tell you that Jude had apologized, and he said that he was willing to work for this government and recognize that there is only one interim government. Thinking now back after seeing him I see in a picture of him at the Chris Anu's event, maybe he would have requested that he has that in writing, so we could have put that out now. But not knowing that he was going to get back into it again, so we fell short, and I had the reason to apologize, of him seeing him there. So me as the head of the department and talking to him, knowing him, after he's apologized, he said to me that he will do his best and he will come strong in whatever they're doing on the ground for this.
Okay. Dr. Tita, it's like, okay. Okay, I just noticed that even the studio, without me touching anything, the by default, the machines are saying that perhaps you have to pause at this point. Well, thank you very much for. Before I get to you, Madam Speaker of the House, so that you react on to this, because your opinion on it really matters and is very important. I would like to make this comment. In my opinion, I think Ambazonians are very keen with treacherous behaviors, and I understand the way they react. I don't blame no Ambazonian for reacting, but then I want to call on Ambazonians once again to learn something. This is something I've learned from the president, working with him for close to 5-6 years now, is that he has exhaustive tolerance when it comes. Sometimes we must not drive people away. I know that Coopers have bruised us. Some want to come back. And if we stay so extreme, we might not have them back. Jude messed up going there, but he is a victim of circumstance and perhaps hungry in Nigeria. And Arnold and the others are trying to manipulate him. What I saw that Jude did yesterday was an excellent organization. He was a mastermind. He took 10,000 US dollars and he did what we wanted. He gave accountability, and our refugees were fed. Well, whatever he went there to do, to meet with Arno, I know some of you wouldn't want him to meet Arno because it could get him victimized, and also information can be exposed. But then I think, Dr. Tita, you have to have a close, a tete-a-tete
Please just
meeting
stop.
with him to have that discussion and to get a way forward. Madam Speaker, please talk to us in this delight. We have been bruised. How do we go about things using this example in the government to build bridges, not destroy them, and get more people on the ground that can be resourceful elsewhere, not just on the ground, within government, within departments, within LGAs and counties?
Thank you, Paddy, and thank you, Dr. Tita. The letter you sent out was good and acceptable. And I think, Paddy, give Dr. Tita room to do his investigation, and let's give him the room so that he can do the thorough investigation and find out and come out, and so he can do a good SWOT analysis of the situation. So let's give him that space and not run with him on ABC. Yes, we are all concerned. Yes, we want to know that we're not dealing with coopers anymore. We're not getting people rob Peter and give the glory to Paul. And we don't want people. We don't want imposters. Basically, raping our refugees. It's a hard word I'm using here. These are imposters raping our refugees and giving them a false hope that they are in charge and can do stuff when they cannot move things. They are part of La Republique, and let them stay in that camp and not pretend that they are for these people. We've had enough of that. We had the Namberes, we had the Reverend Kia, and we've had the Reverend Funky. They are all with La Republique. Let them stay in their zone and leave the refugees. It is because of some people like these I just that our people that will not own up to the truth, that are making things even worse for us. There are some of these very people, whether you call them Prime Minister Ngote or whoever, they are all the ones that are pushing. I'm sorry, Paddy, I'm veering off because this is now something coming out, because I know that this problem could have even been solved if all the politicians that call themselves elite and call themselves representatives of Ambazonians would have just walked out of Yaoundé and come back home. This will end immediately. The international community would even have nothing to say. It would end. So coming back now, okay, I've vented that one. Let me calm down. Our SOS, our SOS for HSS is working and doing his own investigation. Let's give him the room to do that. We all know we are all angry, we are all confused, we are all the saying that if you've been bitten by a snake, you see a millipede, you will jump. That's the reaction of most Ambazonians now. I don't blame you. It is well understood. I pray by the time we get home, we will have enough psychologists and psychiatrists to help our people, to bring them to a place where we will start learning back to build trust and putting things in place, even the children growing up under this war condition. But coming back to what I had said concerning the good work about meeting the Black Caucus on Capitol Hill, the one thing that we need to do, I was saying, for those of us who are Ambazonians in America, that too will apply to people. I know we've been doing more, but this is the time for us to get up and do even more. This is the time for us to contact our representatives in our local areas. It doesn't matter whether they are blacks or white. It is the time for us to be knocking at their doors, because something is brewing underneath. As it brews and it gets to the place where it suffers, and remember the way Congress works, there are different things. Don't just come to the floor to be voted on until things are there is that pressure. We need to also pressure our politicians within the US. So whatever build is stable, comes out of all what we our hard work, let it not be killed. Let it come out of committee and get on the floor for voting, so that we would have
So
informed
different
and
dimensions.
educated.
I'll be reading something that the former chief of staff of the communications department, Dr. Luis Fonap, just wrote in the ABC Amba TV Club forum in that delight. And then I will get back to Madam Irene to link that up again with October 1st celebrations, her involvement, her passion, the involvement of our department, Ambazonia Foundation, being proactive to make sure that resources are available. There are some concerns we getting on the ground, and she is a vital actor to ensure that these things do happen and they happen accurately. But permit me to locate this write-up of Dr. Luis Fonap in appraiser or appreciation of the pictures we're seeing out there, beautiful pictures with Ma Irene smiling widely, and Dr. Tita and the others. So we got this from Dr. Luis in that, and Dr. Luis says revolutions are won through persistence actions that penetrate the corridors of power both at home and abroad. I wish I could have spoken to him to know what corridors of power at home he's talking about, because when you start using power at home, it gets some guys on the ground lofty. I was listening to somebody, I think Ochiba Nelson and myself and Watcher will tackle that. We're listening to this guy that they said stole money from KMC, talking about ground zero. Come on, that's foolishness. I don't want to distract us because it's as foolish as it sounds. But let's continue. It says the Ambazonia. It's a story must be at the Ambazonia story must be articulated by people of substance and integrity. Every inches of land gained help to galvanize the base and also renew our collective belief in the Ambazonian dream. Thank you, Dr. Sako and team, for your steadfastness. Keep telling our story. Keep selling brand Ambazonia. Keep telling the world why Ambazonia will be a net contributor to humanity. Keep going. We are rooting for you. That's an amazing. That is a former chief of staff. I think he's the one who recruited me into the communications department. He's an amazing person to work with. I think that is just an addition to whatever we would have expected Ma Irene and Dr. Tita, who were eyewitnesses to speak. Now, I want us to get in the aspect of finances. Ma Irene, you make things happen during the dying minutes. I know you have a team, but it's your passion. The president calls you queen of passion. During the dying minutes, whatever Ambazonia saw cost millions of CFA and thousands of dollars to happen. We had the full function of government in every continent of the world. I'm talking about the Ambazonian government and even on the ground. You want to talk to us a little bit about it? Because this weekend we are restarting the draft again, and you made it happen. For the president to have done what he did last week in the refugee camps, in his diplomatic endeavors, with the restoration forces on the ground, it had to do with money. Money must be coming from the national treasury. Talk to us
Yes.
what you think has been done, what you did, or what your team did, and what you hope that Amazonians will join you to do
Yeah.
collectively, and so that we can forge ahead as a people and win Cameroon in due time.
Yes. Thank you so much, Abadi. But before I go there, let me just add my 2 cents to something here. You know something? We are done and sick and tired with people running away with our money, and we say, let Jesus give them another chance. No. Once bitten, twice shy. We've lost so much money in this revolution because we're trying to say somebody said, good chance, let's stretch till Jesus come to Africa. No. We can't be doing that anymore. Once you've apologized and you'll be there again, you will not change. You know, they're hungry for money. Don't tell us that somebody is a hungry person. Please don't come here preaching to save Comrade Jude. If I had my way to have me arrested in Nigeria, it would have been a story before the pictures came out. But however, I saw Dr. Tita almost having a heart attack. What you don't know is I missed my flight. Couldn't even go home. I went back. And to DC, Dr. Tita missed his flight, was at the airport. So we're sitting at the airport, working out tirelessly, calling this same person. He's not picking his phone. So, but again, I'm just so proud that Dr. Tita stepped up as a leader to acknowledge that there's certain things that he needs to fix, and he'll fix them. So please, let's not talk about that. Going to my department, I work ahead of time. I don't like Dr. Tita. I can tell you a little bit about how he saw me working. By the time Dr. Tita woke up from bed, I was kicked out of my room because I checked out to go home. So I was in Dr. Tita's room. Dr. Tita can tell you I sat right there in front of him and I raised $7,000. He can tell you. I don't wait to be asked or for the president to say, we need to do this before I start going to look for money. I see if I foresee a project and I start looking for the money. My job in the treasury, I'm no longer resource mobilization, it's New Joe's team. But again, we work hand in hand with each other. You cannot sit there to say you're going to manage a treasury. Well, you're going to manage a treasury without money. And that's one of the things that Tango did not do. So maybe he's going to learn to raise money for Chris Andrew now. But he was sitting there waiting for us to bring money for him to manage. But so that's one of the reasons that I made that strategic decision to take to change the stabilization fund. Remember when we started drafting, we were letting the counties keep the money, we call it presidential basket, which the president is so much against because of the noise from these people that don't contribute, these penniless people. The funds were going to the counties, and we realized that we didn't have anything in the coffers to run the government. So I changed that decision, made it honestly my decision to change it to say, you know what, no. This team of the presidential entourage is a team that I have put together. Those people that come with him are people that I connect with. I call to say thank you for coming, check in, because relationships in this world, you have to continue nurturing relationship. It's not just thinking that people will follow you or people will give you things. Dr. Ta can testify to that and what he saw me do in a few minutes. So we brought this little token with us. And I cannot thank all of you that chip into this presidential or stabilization fund enough. Because with that little that we have, we're making things work. We take from Peter and we pay Paul, and then we take from Paul and pay Peter. So when you see a bunch of jobless people wasting energy on Facebook talking about Dr. Sako's stealing money, so I even saw a prisoner sitting in Kondongi talking about my trip to Boy, as if he gave $1. He didn't give a cent. They spent so much time talking about men they didn't contribute to. So Paddy, in the past, I think when we did not know that somebody was purposely delaying things to move, things were not moving because you're questioning this and questioning that, making sure that things don't move so they can blame the president and blame this government for not doing things. So with Mark, Vicky, and I, what we are doing is once you feel like your requisition, it is correct, we are acting on it. Our biggest thing is fill the requisition. But in a situation where we were like we're in Washington, D.C., Mark, Vicky corrects it, send it back to be re-signed because she knows that we are on the road, we are moving. It took 2 days, believe it or not, to have this show in Nigeria. We're not waiting to see where was money going to come from. We're going to go take it from somewhere and do what we need to do. Because at the end of the day, we needed to make sure that our people have food on the ground. I saw Dr. Tita there trying to stress, calling people who had promised that they were going to give money. But guess what? We still see these demons calling to say they should not give money. I saw the stress on his face, like, are you kidding me? We're counting on this. It's not happening. I said, Doc, don't worry, we'll make this happen. Because the president, can we do this? Yes, you guys go ahead. Mark Vicky was up at 12 o'clock in the night waiting to get this done. But there is hope. And I will tell you all, because we're about to launch aid. So I can talk about that in a minute. That way we have money. But doctor, I can tell you this. We left from our meeting. I raised $7,000 sitting in his room. Doc can tell you about that. I don't wait. I'm constantly raising money. I maybe if you give me some now, take. So I don't wait to until we have a problem. So I We want to make sure that if we need to do something, there's money there. So that's my style of work. That's how I work. And that's how we're able to do some things. My Vicky is calling me, sis, I'm seeing some money coming. Are you doing a fundraising? I said, oh, my, sis, sorry. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. But guess what? I'm not going to sit there to wait for the president to say, you know what, we will need this to get this done before we start raising money. No, that's just not how I function. So I think that's why you see
Square
things move
peg,
a little.
a square peg in a square hole. Dr. Tita, I'm going to come back to you, Ma Irene, in conclusion, so that because there's something Amazonians want to hear, but I know how to keep the best for the last, so that I keep them watching and engaged with our show. But Dr. Tita, I want you to take us in that room or the night of the activities ahead of the Biajua reach out during Independence Day. I understand working to do the designs with you that hours to the event, money was not in hand. Now, like a movie, take us to that moment where you're taking a flight from Florida to Washington to be with the president. You're calling this and you're calling that. You're linking ground one and it is challenging to connect the people. And you're hoping to have $10,000. We congratulations to those who donated, like Malobati and husband were here. They were prompt to donate to that emergency fundraiser. Dr. Patience Abiodu did a lot. I saw some, but the money was not adding up to meet up the figures.
So let me just
And
make sure
like
we
Ma Arene
congratulate
was saying,
Santa local government. Santa local
yeah,
government came on top.
congratulations to the Santa local
So
government
please,
and all those
all the
whom I cannot
everybody that
mention.
contributed. So
Yes.
don't always call
So
names
then,
in fundraising, because when you call two names and you don't call the race, my phone will ring in my ring. I know again next time because not call my name. So please avoid calling
yeah,
names
I
during
understand
fundraising.
Ambassador are concerned on that. So congratulations to everybody that donated. The names, I hope Dr. Tita will shout the names now that he has to speak. Take us to those moments in appreciation of that liaison between government. And I'll be back with you, our speaker, to give to us something that will lead us towards the end of this discussion. Yes, Dr. Tita.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Paddy. Ma, please let's not forget Ma Gilda and Mancon Bachongwa,
That's what I'm
Ma
not.
Anta
That's what I
Tita.
said.
So I mean, please, I really not going to call names, but we
Yeah.
truly, sincerely appreciate everyone that has been supporting the efforts of HSS in this struggle. Like you said, once we were traveling to Washington D.C. and we needed all of this money and this disbursement, uh, unfortunately, some people that we thought that were going to come and support us financially in this process, just few days before October 1st, turned down their support. So that was really, for me, it was really, really heartbroken. I was really touched that why did we have to wait till this last minute? Maybe we could have made other arrangement. And this was a huge sum of money that we were expecting. But that notwithstanding, where there is a will, there's a way. Thanks to Ma Irene and Ma Victorine, I must say that, and yes, let me first say that what Ma Irene is saying as far as fundraising is concerned, she is 100% correct. I was there. It was in my hotel room where she raised that huge amount of money, shockingly, that money. But I would like to thank also all of those that responded to that initiative that Ma Irene had going on. I must say that the diplomatic efforts of this interim government has changed completely within the last 1 week. Now, before, it felt like the only effort we had or initiative we had was the Swiss-led process, of which neighboring French Cameroon withdrew from the process, not knowing what God had in place for us. I am here to attest to you all in collaboration with Ma Irene. We just went through Washington, D.C. and was there for over 5 days. That this
Now, Dr.
interim
Tita,
government,
you are the one talking. I would like Mr.
yes,
President, if he's watching, and anybody that's watching now, Dr. Tita is the one now talking, not me. Go right ahead. Amazonians are enjoying
yes,
it, so I just want to make
yes.
it,
No, I just want to attest to this, to the world and the Ambazonian people to know that the diplomatic effort of this interim government has changed significantly. and you will be seeing them. The president will be talking to you about them, but I'm just here to assure you all that Ma Irene and myself traveled to Washington, D.C. Ma Irene was there before me. Ma Irene went in there on Monday. I left here in my state of Florida on Tuesday when a hurricane was about to hit. I left my 6-month-old, my 3-year-old at home, and my woman at home to rush to Washington, D.C. for this diplomatic effort. It was worth every second of our time. Like I said again, the president will be talking about it, but I want to assure you and applaud all the members, those that contributed or donated or step up to donate towards the initiative that Ma Irene had going on. And also to encourage every Southern Cameroonian, if you've never been part of this struggle, now is the time for you to come back in. If you have felt you got disgruntled at some point or got tired at some point, now is the time to come back in and let's finish this battle. But yes, like you were saying that during our trip, we had some challenges. And I must say that Ma Irene, thank you, Ma Irene. And I must attest here that with the leadership of Ma Irene at the National Treasury, the requisition process is a lot more faster than it has ever been in this revolution. And I'm here to attest this because I saw the challenges. I know the challenges that we used to go through under the former Secretary of State, Richard Tango, and what we have going on right now. I mean, if it was him that was there, there is no way we could have had the results that you see or that we saw on the ground there in Buki, in Diajwa, Buki LG. So Ma Irene step up, and thanks to Ma Victorine, like Ma Irene said,
don't
Ma
rush
Victorine.
it. Don't rush, Dr. Tita.
Yes.
Please. There's something you said there I like. Ma Winnie, please, just a moment. Dr. Tita, you are just saying something now very sweet. You're saying we have a much more robust administrative system in place.
Yes.
That is comparing it with the former.
Of course, the National Treasury that we had, the system we have there now, I couldn't ask for anything better than what Ma Irene has going on there at the National Treasury. And I say this because I know what it used to be before. And if it was under the leadership of the former secretary, I will tell you that there's no way that we could have had the results on the ground. Yes, but this project was successful thanks to Ma Irene, thanks to Ma Victorine. I mean, thanks to the team at the National Treasury, thanks to our Secretary of State for Defense, SOS Frank, that is always there, even late night at 12 midnight or 1 a.m. We call him, this money has to go on the ground. And he made it possible for this money to go on the ground. It turns to this team, a collective team, a team that is willing to work collectively together. That's what this interim government is, to produce the right results. And Ambazonians, you will be seeing the results coming out. They will be coming out very soon for you to see.
So we might be safe to tell you that.
Dr. Lobati, you've heard this. You're a leader in this government. How do you feel about this? What can you tell Ambazonian people based on your feeling? In terms of policy and ensuring transparency in this government, the arm of government that you head has a vital role to play. What are some of the policies you're enforcing or you think might need some amelioration to ensure that we can only get better? The president says it over and over again. It can only get better, meaning we're equipping ourselves to get better. Talk to us, please.
Yeah, Paddy, thanks. I have these are the two things. I have a right and a left hand that helps to tie the bonding. And what I'm looking at is we have two important tracks that we must do to carry this train all the way into Boya. And those tracks are diplomacy and self-defense. Those two tracks must be running and running efficiently so that the train that is taking us to Boya does not have problems along the way. Granted, we have to deal with humanitarian issues because the train doesn't go empty. So all those humanitarian people are the people that are in the different carts of the train that is taking us to Boya. So I want to thank the National Treasury. I want to thank Resource Mobilization for what they are doing, and I hope they will keep doing better and not stagnate. And I hope Ambazonians will start trusting and coming back to fully engage and not stay on the fence. But when it comes to asking what is the from policy perspective, the House of Representatives, I'm glad, because when we will start calling people to find out what they've been doing to give accountability, there will be good news to share with the people of Ambazonia, because they will be telling us things that the people of Ambazonia want to hear, and the hope that is already there that is going on. I know diplomacy there's a lot in diplomacy that doesn't get flaunt in the public, or that will not be spoken to Paddy, and Paddy may want to squeeze the information as much as he wants. It will not flow out. But the information that is on a need to know basis will be given to the people, enough to keep their hope up, and and restrain to not destroy the process. So I'm glad this is going to happen.
I think there's some logic in that, because when you give a child, you love a child, you give a child too much sweet, it might destroy their teeth. So perhaps they're giving us in the right proportion so that we are not diabetic. I remember my grandmom, my mother's mom from Bengu said one word, the, no, he says this Kinge Langa.
Langa.
Because I always want to eat more. I just naturally want it more. Thank you, Dr. Lobati. I'm coming back to you, Ma Irene, to connect what you said in the conclusion. You said in your own words, I'm quoting you, that the time when we're going to allow people just go away with money from this government, do away with it, is over. So I'm linking it. You were live on with Ethics Commission about 6 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, and you encourage Ambazonians as per the procedure and processes of the legal process that's ongoing with Coopers per se. You are a vital member of the Ambazonian Foundation, and perhaps you want to update the people of Ambazonia. It is in your liberty to give information that you want to give. But that we are hungry for information, we might also go to the website. But then, how determined are you? Because there are people that are wanting results and wanting it now. When should Ambazonia start thinking that those who are stolen from them and penalize them will be paying them back?
The people that are really wanting this information are not paying anything to this revolution. Let's make that very clear here. If you're very anxious to know about things that are happening, go to your local government, attend your local government meetings. ABC television, you have almost 200 people in the ABC platform. They're not even paying $10 to support ABC. So listen, we would love to keep sharing this free information here, but we're also encouraging people to go to their local governments and be connected, draft in their LGAs, pay their draft, attend their LGA meetings, because most of this information will be shared through the APP. So let me say this. You are very eager to know that the people that stole our money, remember the money that Richard Tango stole in Europe, he stole that $40,000, gave 20,000 to Marianta, 20,000 to some activists. So these two people have money in their bank account. 40,000 that most of them did not give a dime to. You think they're going to walk away? No, Richard Tango, remember, this man has been helping his brother, who is the guy to decolonization committee, whatever, Fayengo, who's one of the biggest devils in Ambazonia revolution now, to stay in power. Richard Tango has been doing that. You think he's going to get away with money that he stole from us? If he gets away, some of our Pastor Commando refused to give me anointing, but God has given me anointing, and I will pray in tongues too, and they will die to their fifth generation to take money that we contributed to take care of our people that are suffering. So that's one of the things that I'll say here, Paddy. I would not be disclosing. You can go on the website and read what you want to read. Members of government, I hate talking. Talking is not what I'm good at doing here. You know I don't like coming on TV because I don't want to I don't want you to try to start poking words out of my mouth. So I like to keep my business to myself and in my department, and let people see our performance. One of my best things I say to people in corporate America is let your performance silence your doubters. It's not about blowing your own trumpet or what you're doing. It's about people seeing the work that you do, because work can also was be seen. So please, Ambazonians, be patient with us. We are taking them to court. If somebody's wife is in the mutual, they are going to go to Nigeria. You think that we are not going to follow them for the money? Where did the money come from? Those are the things that Ambazonia should get angry now and say, if I didn't pay my draft, I'm drafting. That's what I want to hear. We are going to make sure every dime of ours that these demons took, they will pay for it. But one of the things I also want you to know, Paddy, is I'm about to launch 8. We are very excited to let you know that we've been working, and thank you, Paddy. Thank you to my ex-chairman, Amos. Thank you to our brother Fon. Thanks to the great team that we've been working together for months now to get our website, our payment platform ready to launch 8, which we are so excited on. We will have the next meeting. The CIC will talk about when we're launching 8, and our website is going to be as slick as possible. But I also want to make sure that when we launch 8, I'll be coming to the first appointment I'll be making is to go to see to Madam Speaker, because we will not be giving reports to anybody sitting in your house that is not paying aid. Last time when we checked with Restoration Council that was headed by Chief Not Paying Anything Kometa, almost everyone there except Madam Speaker and a few people that paid CID then. So Madam Speaker, I have news coming for you. When you will be calling my department to come to talk to your people, I'll be requesting a list of everyone that is paying aid. And we want to make sure that people must pay to play in Ambazonia these days. The free days of lunch are over. We all want to go home. We all want diplomacy. We all want our ARF to have stuff. These stuffs cost money. And we cannot keep having a few people in this revolution carrying the financial load while others are coasting along for free. So if we're going to go from, I'm already booking my appointments with every department, coming to every department to say, it's your day to subscribe your membership. And I will be giving a financial report once I get a deputy to every department. Madam Speaker, you don't have to worry. You have that report coming to you about who is not paying aid in your department. So that before I come to give you everything that you will need from me, trust me, I am one person who believes that we need to start making Ambazonians know how much money we are getting. We need to make Ambazonians know how much bills we pay. We might not classify a lot of things, but we will give the different department heads all that information. I believe in total transparency. That's one of the pet peeves I have with Richard Tango when I was his deputy was, how do you not let Ambazonia people know how much money they have? That is not going to keep happening once we get help. But I want to assure every Ambazonia, no dime, Ma Victorine and I were hawks when it comes to this money. No dime of yours will be missing. No, not a penny. And every time I have an opportunity, I must remind us that the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is not a signatory to your bank accounts. Because that is, I saw this, somebody wrote somewhere that, oh, he's taking the money. No, the man does not have access to your money. So Ambazonians, please fund this war. Let's fund this diplomacy. Some of you, I'll be reaching out. I've already contacted a few people to expand this diplomatic team outreach financially to support us. So I'll be calling quite a few people. I believe in picking up my phone and making calls and adding people to the team that we need to build the financial engine that we need to take this to Boya. And let me make sure Ambazonians here, if you want to go destroy, you're not destroying Dr. Sako. You're destroying the future of our children. So shame on all of these people that have nothing to do than come here and talk rubbish or go on Facebook and type nothing. Go and support your local government.
Thank you very much, Myron. We have exhausted our time. I'm happy that you even made yourself available. You know, Madam Speaker of the House, you are the You are the icing of this cake. But Dr. Tita, I'd like you to give your last words as we round it off. Then the Speaker of the House will give us a final statement. Now, there's a concern coming here from Nelson Ochiba. He says, my question today is that the chairpersons and defense chairs of those LGAs whose fighters claimed to APLC, Ambazonian People Liberation Council, come and tell us if you are part of it or denounce it. I think I understand the emotions of Ochiba Nelson, and I also think that the government has got to take leadership. I'm yet to consult with the president to get his opinion on this issue. I think those on this platform are not in the authority or jurisdiction to give accurate answers. We hope to hear from Comrade Francis Chinye, the Secretary of State for Defense. Tomorrow, we will also be hoping that the Vice President will talk in this delight because of concern. We realize that a lot of money has been pumped down via the LGAs and the counties, and we know some fighters either playing double-headedness, perhaps the same attitude we receive from Jude from Nigeria, whereby they're taking money and they are also answering to somebody else. It is very keen that we get to have this discussion in a very direct manner with the right officials. So one of these days, on or before the day of the press conference, when we will announce the date of the press conference, probably tomorrow. It's an international press conference. We hope to have BBC, Washington Post, and some other international media houses, that inclusive even media houses from La République du Cameroon, are invited to be a part of this press conference, and the president will be talking to them. Logistics are being put together. So I'll be consulting with the press. This is a formal announcement I'm giving, so wait for the date. I'll be consulting with the press secretary, that is part of her portfolio, the Secretary of State for Communications and IT, and the office of the president, so that we can come up with a date and have this press conference. A lot is happening. The true leader of Ambazonia should be able to speak to the world and should also speak to La République du Cameroon, so that the peoples of the Cameroons understand the gimmick. But then your question, Ochiba, I'm not waving it aside. I'm saying that those on this platform is not probably in their portfolio to give specific answers. They could choose to make some contribution. But what is most important is the fact that we need to get accurate answers from the SOS for self-defense on this matter. And tomorrow that the vice president will be talking, he should also be ready. I guess he'll be watching this program. He should equip himself to satisfy the hunger of Ambazonians who are concerned about this disorder taking place at the home front. There's a lot for us to say on this, but then I would advise that we don't say anything yet until we hear from the CIC and the rightful authorities. Thank you, Dr. Tita. Perhaps you want to talk to Ambazonians in appraisal of the post-Independence Day, and you have just about 90 seconds. Then we'll have the Speaker of the House conclude the talk. Well, it would appear Dr. Tita is disconnected. So, Madam Speaker, please.
Can you hear me?
You're amazing.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Patty,
Dr. Tita is back. Now you keep fidgeting. I don't know why. Maybe so that the Speaker of the House will conclude it. You have to talk to us now.
Please, please.
Yes, go ahead. Do you want me to rephrase what I was saying so that you get it?
No, I think I heard you perfectly fine. I was just thinking that
give us a few words. You have about 90 seconds, please.
Yeah, I was thinking that 90 seconds is a little too small for what I can say.
Take it to 3 minutes.
But let me try and make an appeal here to our fellow comrades in the revolution. After the leadership crisis that we experienced, a lot of disgruntled people moved on the other side, the Cooper's clan. It affected the Department of Health and Social Services. I'm appealing for every Southern Cameroonians that willing and available and has some time to sacrifice for our people to come into the department so we can help coordinate HSS activities. Please, that will help us and that will help a lot of us get an understanding of the challenges that we are facing on the ground. We cannot explain the challenges every time on social media, but to get an inside information, you have to be part of the team. So you need to come into the department and try and pick up a role and see what you can do to help push this revolution forward. Please, I really wanted to make that appeal. Also, before I conclude today, I really want to sincerely thank every Southern Cameroonian that contributed towards the Oktoberfest celebration in Biajoa, Buki, LGA. That took place on Oktoberfest, of course. Thanks to your continuous generosity, we were able to make an impact on the ground. Thanks to the National Treasury and thanks to our team members on the ground, we were able to achieve 100% of the project that we wanted to accomplish. And in return, we got the positive information. We saw how our refugees showed the world, the entire world, who the leader of this struggle is. Without a doubt, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ikomesako is the leader of the Ambazonia struggle. You can see it everywhere in Ground One, and you can see the excitement that our people had and the word of appreciation that they had for the president. But it stands to the continuous generosity of the few that believe and that are committed in making sure that we have an impact. Thank you so much. I cannot thank the HSS team members enough. I cannot thank the county chairs, the LGA chairs that work so hard for us to have these results that we just seen on the ground. There is still a lot to be done. Anyone that have made a pledge, please, before Oktoberfest and did not come through, HSS still needs your funds, please. If you can bring in the money so we can help the cases that are coming into the department, we will truly be honored and very grateful in that. Thank you so much, Comrade Paddy. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Ma Irene. Yes,
Thank you.
Speaker of the House, you, like I said earlier on, you are the icing of the cake. Tensions have been high. Good information has been given. Stretch out information. Ambazonians are excited that the government, they have a government that is not just a government by title, but it's a government by function. I say this again, we saw the full function of government in every continent of the world during the Independence Day. And we also saw proxies purportedly wanting to hold our flag, but in the night they are conversing with our own enemy. You want to talk to us, you've heard it all. What is that talk that you talk in the house like a mother of the house, like the Speaker of the House? That will make and galvanize many more Ambazonians to be a part of this endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's in
Paddy.
conclusion, please.
Thank you, Paddy. Fellow Ambazonians, I just want to take this time to thank everyone who is already engaged and is part of the process of getting this steam engine land at Boya without hitches, either with your time, with your financial contribution. And as for ground one, we saw the refugees come out in their numbers. They needed the help. Most of them, as we know, already lost almost everything when they ran out of their homes that had been razed, the over 500 villages, and they made it to some temporary safe haven, which is in ground one, ground two, ground three to ground infinity, as I would say. But for those who are at home front, who have been embracing all these challenges, thank you very much, because you keep holding the hope and you keep the hope alive. I spoke with somebody in ground not back at home front. And to their amazement, of course, there is the frustrations of having a lot of fake ARFs. I like to use the name Amber Boys because Amber Boys seem to be a more general term, which even includes those that are Ponji Atangas, Amber Boys. But our ARFs are supposed to be well disciplined. And some of the complaints that came were people are kidnapping them, asking them, taking them, and holding them hostage. That is not the role, and that is not what the interim government of the people of Ambazonia has trained the ARFs to do. And that we do not expect them to do. I'm glad that the SOS for Defense may be coming up one of these days to talk. But what I want to say is thank you for holding on the country Sundays, celebrating October 1st. I was so amazed to see the crowds, the ones in Boy, the ones in Gokotunja, the ones in Momo, and so if I didn't call yours, don't worry. All those that were there, I was really proud to see you guys all. Keep the hope alive. The Swiss-led process is not the end of Ambazonia or our lives or our quest for the restoration and sovereignty of our statehood. That is not it. Before there was a Swiss-led process, Ambazonians had taken their stand of where they wanted to go. Back to Boya, out of Yaoundé, and they were going to be there, come sun, come rain, come bullets, or come nothing. So what I'm going to say is, those who have been on the fence, it's your time to come back home. It's your time to join your hands with those at home front and those who are already pushing this steam engine. Give it more, give it a burst of energy by contributing, joining your local government areas. And let me tell you, President Sako is a man of few words, but a man of action in the background. He is also a quick learner. I remember when he had to go speak to the decolonization committee or what in the UN. I think that was 2018, and a few people went and sabotaged it. He quickly learned that you don't put out diplomatic actions in the public, because if you put it, so Ambazonians, be patient when diplomatic things are happening. Be patient and know that you will get information. Some of them you may not get now, but down the road, when the history books are written, you will read the full story of that. Don't be disheartened, be encouraged. Things are moving, but we need everyone, all hands on deck, for us to move on. Thank you.
Ambazonians, like, I feel the pulse of Ambazonians like me when they tell us to be patient. And then we are thinking, oh God, why patient? We feel like, a lot of people have told us Ambazonians, be patient like a gear one, classified. Those words in the context of our liberation movement are synonyms. Be patient is classified information, and then at the end of the day, it was. So I understand Ambazonians. Fortunately for me now, I'm privy to certain information, and I'm not going through what I used to go through. So I can only join the chorus by telling you Ambazonians, please be patient. Something good is happening. Something
Amen.
really, really, really very good is happening. And I hope you listened to the president when he was speaking. And I want to say, Madam Speaker, thank you very much for making out the time. Thank you, Ma Irene. Thank you again, Dr. Tita, for making out the time. We're going to have more of this discussion in the days ahead. And the Ambazonian people want to listen more from you. So it is our duty to make sure that we grant this platform. It is your platform. You just indicate to us. Most of you are busy. That's why I'm appreciating. You can see Dr. Tita was just coming up from his office. Ma Arin is in the office. You are working today, even at home. That's why you could make out this time. So Ambazonian people, I also want to use this as an opportunity to answer some of your questions. It is not our making that Barrister and Sir John Fu cannot be live with us. We are trying to restructure and do some programming in such a way that those who cannot come live prime time, everybody wants to come from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it coincides with the program in the United States of America. Barrister Fu cannot just meet up with his time. I was talking to him the other day. Even during the president's speech analysis, he couldn't meet up with time. So there is nothing, don't think things, improvise things. And even if you think certain things, you may want to ask questions before you drop out controversy or controversial information out there. There's no need you saying something and then realizing a few minutes or moments later that whatever you said wasn't it, was not just it. So on that note, I'd like to tell you once again and again and again and again and again and again that happy Independence
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.